peoples? It's your boy Austin Smitty, and welcome back to another video. And in this video, I will be reacting to Llama Arts. Now, I have reacted to Llama Arts before. They make, if you don't know what Llama Arts is, they make horror stories. I reacted to them before. I think but it was a long time ago. I think the last time I reacted to them was in well, not reacted. The last time I watched them was in 2015, and they had like the dude that had like a big smile. He kind of like Jeff the Killer. That was like the last time I watched Llama Arts. It's been a while. And a lot of people wanted me to react to this. They said they like my Insidious video. They like me being scared, like jumping and stuff. So I was like, why not? We're going to do another somewhat scary video. Now, this one is a little old. It is 2018 through 2019. I know there is more. Like I said, the last one I watched was old, like 2015. Like I was like still in high school. Like it was that long. That's how long ago it was. Excuse me. I see one down there that I think I started, but I don't know if I ever finished it. So we might. That was an hour. Okay. So, ooh. And this one is basically an hour. So we're gonna try and finish this one. Try and watch this whole thing. If not, we'll make another part to it and we'll do the rest of it. But without further ado, we will start the video in a 3, 2, 1. Creepy ghost hunting stories.
This happened about 5 years ago when I was 21. Me and my friend Seth got into this app which showed you ghosts. We'd go out ghost hunting, but nothing much would happen.
Time out. I'm sorry. Already, I'm already blown. Who the hell downloads a ghost hunting? Let me stop.
Sometimes a dot would appear on one of our phones and it would say random words. We would ask, "How did you die?" and stuff like that. And sometimes the answers lined up, but it was mostly random. One night, around 2 a.m., Seth suggested going to the cemetery to see if the app picked anything up. I was hesitant, but I nervously agreed. We started making our way through the neighborhood towards the cemetery. It was weird as the streets are normally lined with cars, but they were empty on this night. We walked down the middle of the road with the app running, but it wasn't picking anything up. We finally made it to the cemetery, which was a small, family-owned one where they only buried their own.
What type of shit are y'all on? Where y'all want to disturb graves? Like, what the, like, what? Why would you do that? Like, that's so, like, what?
Seth went
Why? Why would you want to do that?
Hoping to get a response on the app, but nothing happened. I was standing in the road, feeling unsettled, when Seth starts yelling,
"Is that all you've got?"
I told him to stop disrespecting the dead.
Please,
we should
like,
leave.
bro, like,
you would not be funny, saying,
"Oh, I'll make them show up."
You'll make them
jumped
show
the gate
up.
And started
Hey,
stomping
yeah,
no.
no. See, these are the type of friends you don't want. You don't want them. They go dancing on graves like this. Yeah, I don't mess with no spirits. That's crazy.
I looked down at my phone and it was there. We both just stood there, looking at each other when 10 or so red dots appeared on the radar. And it said it again.
10 dots?
When I looked back up from my phone, Seth was next to me.
Bro, he knows it. I'm going to.
Got to go.
As soon as I said that, we could hear the street lights turning off one by one from the top of the street, getting closer to us. We took off running as fast as we could. We got about halfway into the neighborhood before running out of breath and having to stop.
That's what y'all get. I hope both of y'all get possessed too, because y'all shouldn't have been. He shouldn't have been. Your friend shouldn't have been dancing on the freaking graves, and you shouldn't have been with him.
I knew what it said.
Or allowed him.
Being too scared to look at my phone, I looked at Seth, who looked terrified. He nodded at me to get my phone out, so I slowly pulled it out, and it said my name across the top. I turned my phone off and said,
"Screw this. I'm done."
We made our way back to my house and had a cigarette to calm down. We were talking about what just happened, almost not believing it, when I heard my phone again. This time it was my sister's name.
Your sister's name? Why the fuck know your sister?
Not
There's no way
saying a
an
word,
app can do all that
and
shit.
went off
Like, there's
again
no
and
way.
said my
An app
brother's
can
name.
do all that?
I took my phone out, turned it on, and deleted the app. I asked Seth to stay the night, but he refused.
Bro said, I am not walking in that house and you got demons?
When I
You
finally got
crazy.
to sleep that night,
No.
I dreamt a
No.
muffled voice repeating a word over and over. I started to wake up and the words became clearer. My phone was off, with the battery out. But when I turned it over,
Your phone was off
it was
with the
lit up
battery out.
with the app running.
The app was like,
It had
what
a
you
red
think this
dot
is?
about 6
You
feet
gonna
from
get
me,
you, the
still
ghosts are
with me.
coming. The ghosts are coming, man. Like, whoa, what's going on? Oh, hell no. Oh. Oh, yo, you did. You did. You definitely did. Oh, look at the feet. Yo, crusty ass.
I woke up the next morning and went to the bathroom.
I wish I
I
would
had
wake
a
up and see a ghost.
razor-thin cut from my left shoulder to my right
Damn.
hip. I don't know what happened that night, and nothing has happened to me since. Needless to say, I don't mess with that kind of stuff anymore.
I bet you don't. You shouldn't have did it in the first place. I don't mess with it no more. You should never did it. I wish I would wake up and see a ghost spirit like that. A ghost like that. Like, no. I would be going crazy.
Over the weekend, about 15 coworkers and myself had our company trip to the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park,
Okay.
known for being Stephen King's inspiration for The Shining.
Well,
We took
great
an
horror
8 p.m.
movie
ghost
like
tour
that.
where we joined about 15 other people to get guided around the property and told stories about its history and creepy things that are said to have happened. We were told to take a lot of pictures, I'm sure to try and capture orbs or ghosts. Many green orbs were caught in pictures, but I don't think anything is as creepy as this photo taken by my coworker. A little girl in a hot pink dress who was definitely not on our tour. And apparently, years ago, a young girl who was 12 to 13 by the name of Lucy was squatting in the basement of the concert hall, which is where this photo was taken, and she was discovered upon plans to begin some construction. She was forced to leave, and the night got below freezing. So she froze to death. Everyone on my tour has vouched
That
that
girl
this
look
girl was
creepy. That
not
girl
on
with the
our
black
tour.
hair. Why she look like
I
that?
mean,
She look,
who wouldn't
she
remember
look
someone
dead
wearing
herself.
hot pink? The man pictured is our tour guide. No one would have been in front of him. I am convinced that this is the ghost of Lucy. Just one more added note, though I doubt anyone would believe me. But there was only one time throughout the tour where I felt any strange energy or feeling. And it was right there, headed down to the basement of the concert hall.
I didn't like that one. Next.
What's that?
Okay.
Plain white sauce?
Are these
Plain
just
white
like
sauce with
ads?
your teeth go grey.
This happened a few weeks ago when I was
Oh,
walking
kidnapping
home
horror
from school,
story. Okay.
excited
We had
that
to
my
skip that.
freshman
I don't know
year
what the
was
hell that
coming
was.
to an end. It was a Tuesday night when I was turning in my last essay for history. I left it to the last minute, and the teacher
Yo,
actually
when
made
you
me
ready to
complete
get
it
that
before I
schoolwork
could go
done and
home.
leave, and the
I
teacher won't let
hated
you
my
leave,
teacher
we want
for
you
that.
fin. Shit, I used to
Around
hate
8
that.
p.m., I had
Like,
finished that goddamn
shit was-
essay and was
used to
walking
blow
home.
me.
The rain had stopped, and there was a beautiful sunset.
I took
Suddenly,
the bus. I ain't
noticed
walking
something.
home. I
There
ain't
was a
walking
red
home.
2016 Toyota Camry right behind me. I got goosebumps thinking it was following me.
No, don't
I
ever
didn't
walk
look back.
alone.
I
That's what I
started
would
walking in my
Don't walk
apartment's
alone.
direction. I wanted to go to a busy road
Always
to
go
feel
in packs.
safer. Just then, the car sped up, stopping right next to me.
Wow.
A middle-aged man asked me where I was headed and suggested to drop me off. I said no thanks, but the man wouldn't leave and insisted. I wanted to tell the man to just
Whoa.
fuck off, but I took off running instead.
Took off running.
I heard a loud noise,
I
and at the
would've-
same time felt something I can only describe as a sharp vibration hitting my flesh.
Damn.
I fell to the ground not knowing what happened. Out of adrenaline, I was about to get up and run again as I felt a heavy arm grab me by the mouth.
I probably
Then
would have
pain
ran the
set
other.
in.
I don't know.
I realized that I was shot.
Damn.
There was another man
I
next
really
to
wanna
him
know.
that
Yeah,
searched my
dang.
pockets.
I don't
He
know.
grabbed my phone and threw it on the ground as he tied my legs and taped my mouth.
Wow.
They
Oh my
quickly
God.
put me into the trunk of their car and then started driving. I could feel that we were going very fast, and I'm sure that we hadn't stopped at all for a good 30 minutes.
Bro, like,
I was feeling
what's
my
the
blood
point,
soaking
like,
into my
of
shirt,
kidnapping?
which
Like, they
scared me
just
the
kidnapped
most.
you for
I
no,
was
like,
certain
that's
that I was going to
crazy.
die.
But it
I was
really be
thinking about
like
my
people
parents
like
and what
that.
they
That
would
just
feel
do
when they heard
random
that I was missing.
messed up shit.
Then the car came to a stop. By some miracle, I heard a police officer asking for IDs and driver's licenses.
God
I
heard your
wanted to yell
prayers.
for help, but nothing came out. Just then,
Definitely
I
heard your
heard
prayers.
3 to 4 gunshots. I heard another
Hey.
cop yelling,
Man down! Man down! Shots fired!
Oh, it's a
I was
battle
begging
going
the
on
cop
up
to
there.
find me. Then I heard the cop searching the car. I was feeling joy as my pain was growing worse. Seconds felt like hours. The officer then opened the car's trunk and suddenly started firing at me out of a
What?
fight or flight response. Thankfully, the bullets missed.
What?
The
What do you think
officer
he gonna do in
quickly
the trunk?
caught up to the fact that I was
He's
kidnapped
tied up
and
with tape in his
injured.
mouth, and you gonna try and
called
shoot
for
him? Like,
backup
what do you think he gonna do?
immediately,
Like,
and
he's
it
the
arrived
person that
in
got.
minutes.
Yo,
They placed
that
the
cop
injured
needs to be
officer onto
fired
a
after
gurney
that.
and drove off
What?
in an ambulance. Finally, when the scene was safe, they called another ambulance for me. I woke up in the hospital. The news media was everywhere. I was fine after a few days, but later learned that the officer that was shot didn't make it.
Wow.
I don't know if those men are still alive or rotting away in a prison for killing an officer. I don't want to know what would have happened if those officers hadn't stopped the car.
Me neither. Yeah, me neither. Whoa. I think are those like little ads and like commercials? I think that's what those are. A bus stop horror story. Okay.
This happened when I was 17 years old. I would go to the gym 3 to 4 times
Wow.
a week and ride the bus home. It was a Sunday and I had just missed my bus, so I had to wait longer for another one.
Wow. I would
I would have
never.
called my parents, but they were
I
out
would
for
always
leaving.
pick up my son.
and
If my
taxis
son
charged
like
more,
sat, like
so
I
I
don't care,
decided
like
to
I'm gonna
sit
pick
and
up my
wait
son.
in a
My
bus
son is
shelter.
not taking the bus. I don't care
It
where
was
he
a
is.
cold night and snow had just started peppering the
And
ground.
it's snowing. Like
My
no,
bus
he's
was taking
not
longer
sitting
than
out.
usual,
That
so I got
no,
my phone
I
out and
couldn't
listened
do
to
it.
some music.
I would go crazy.
Almost an hour had passed. It was freezing and I hadn't seen anyone at all. That was until I noticed something out of the corner of my eye. It was a creepy guy dressed in
Hey
thick
yo,
layers
didn't you
of
just
clothing,
kidnap somebody?
walking
Like
slowly
what the
towards me.
hell? Like you
I
just
knew
kidnapped
staring at him
somebody.
would draw
Why?
more
What?
attention,
You
so
about
I
to
just
mess with
focused
people on the
my
bus?
phone. He sat down at the other end of the shelter and just stared at me. There was something off about
They had to
him.
use the same
He
animation.
seemed like he was either drunk or on drugs. He then asked.
What does the boss do?
I took out my earphones and said.
I think it's delayed because of the snow.
He stared at me for a while, then started mumbling to himself. It was
Whoa.
really starting to creep me out, so I pretended to be on my phone. After a couple of minutes, I took another look. He'd moved closer to me. I looked
Whoa.
away for a second, then heard the sound of him sliding even closer.
Yo, it's
I
like I'm
turned to him
coming.
and said,
I'm coming to
okay
you.
there?
He stared at me with glossy eyes, lifted his arm and leaned
You're ready to
towards
jump
me.
at you.
Immediately, I grabbed my bag and ran as he fell to the ground. I ran down the road, trying my hardest not to look back. I kept going
Oh,
until
don't
I
look
got
back.
to the next bus stop.
Run.
I turned around to check to see if he was there. He was gone, so I went to sit down. Feeling relieved, I rested my head on the back of the glass and waited for the bus.
That's it. Oh, it's not
I
over.
jolted
Oh, he came
and
back.
turned around to see the same guy staring at me through the glass.
What the hell is wrong with you?
He wants you, bro.
Then he started walking around the shelter towards me.
I would've.
I'm warning you, stay back.
I yelled in panic as I was backing up. I wanted to run, but I left my bag in the
That
shelter
face
and I
right
couldn't
there that
move
he's making,
without
that
it.
look creepy.
Suddenly, the man leaped at me and I quickly moved out of the way. He fell to the ground face
Ooh.
first.
Yeah,
I froze in shock, then noticed the blood coming from his face. I tried to get a response out of him, but nothing worked. I called the police and paramedics and they arrived shortly after. I told them what had happened, and they told me that the guy was on prescription drugs. They found a photo in his wallet of him and his son. The boy looked just like me, so we assumed he thought I was him.
Wow.
I later learned that he had lost his son in a custody battle and went off the rails.
Damn.
He was taken away for treatment. That was the
Wow.
last I saw of him.
That's actually really sad.
I got my driver's license shortly after.
I bet you
I
did.
have never been on a bus
That's
since.
actually sad. That wasn't really scary. That was actually pretty sad. Jesus. Yo just was going through it and missed his son. I feel that. Miss my girl. Yep.
It was November of 2006. I
Okay.
was a 16-year-old kid living in the town of
Great. Make
Altoona,
Christmas
Iowa.
creepy for me. Okay.
I went to bed early one night because I had to work the early shift at McDonald's. As I slept, I had a dream that I was running through downtown Des Moines, but I wasn't on a jog. I was running from something.
This looks demonic.
As I ran around the corner of a building, I came face to face with my pursuer. A tall man wearing a trench coat and a top hat stood in front of me.
What the hell?
The only thing visible of his face was his eyes. They were abnormally large with black pupils, and it looked at me as if it wanted something. After what felt like hours, he reached out his bony hand, as if he wanted me to go with him. I woke up violently from my dream, and after catching my breath, I peered around my room to see if I was safe. As I stood up from my bed, I noticed that I could see my breath.
Yo.
Feeling confused,
got
I
ghost.
checked my window. It was latched shut.
You have ghosts.
I then walked over and checked my vent. I could still feel warm air coming from it. As I sat back down on my
You got
bed,
ghosts.
I tried to figure out what exactly was going on. That's when the figure from my dream appeared at the foot of my bed.
What the f-
I scrambled back to my
Sorry.
headboard.
What do you want?
I asked, trying to hide the shakiness in my voice. With the same bony finger, it pointed at me. Growing up in a religious home, I believed what I was looking at was a demon. I told the creature to leave. It just waved its finger at me, and with a low voice,
I'm here for
it
this. I'm
spoke
here
to me.
now.
Never leave. Always here.
The creature then screamed loudly
Oh!
and disappeared. A feeling of nausea came over me, and I vomited on my floor. The
Oh!
last thing I remember was cleaning myself up and waking up to my alarm.
Yo, that's
It's
scary.
been about a month since I had seen the top
That's
hat
scary.
wearing man in my bedroom. The Christmas season was in full effect. My parents weren't home because they got invited to some kind of
Yo, stop
event.
staying in
So
the
it
house
was only me
alone,
and
bro.
my
Go
three
stay with your
sisters at
grandma.
home.
Or some
I had
other
to wake
relative.
up early in the morning for work, so I decided to go to sleep. I rested my head on my pillow and closed my eyes. Not
Wait.
even
What type? Why would what? I wish my mom would leave me here by myself on Christmas Eve or anytime during December. What?
30 seconds
To
passed
what?
until my sisters burst
outta
into my
here.
room and started singing obnoxious songs. This, of course, made me very angry.
No, I would have been
but
happy.
thought
I
if
see
ignored
real
them,
people
that they
instead of
would leave me
ghosts.
alone. This was not the case. As I pulled the blankets over my head, I started to feel the same cold feeling that I had in November.
What?
As the obnoxious singing subsided, I lowered the blanket below my eyes and saw the man standing in the corner of my room.
Yo, bro.
In one swift motion, he charged towards me.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
When I finally came to, I found that my sisters had locked themselves inside the bathroom. As I knocked on the door, they told me to go away. I asked them what happened, and all they could say was Mom and Dad were on their way home. I looked down and saw that my hand was slightly bloody. Holes were in the bathroom door, and a broom was sticking out of the wall. I then walked into the living room and found that there were knives stuck into the wall as well. The same wave of nausea passed over me, just like in November, and I threw up again. As I was cleaning up, my parents walked through the door. My father immediately walked over to me and gave me a good beating. Then he sent me to my room. I went to bed crying. Not from the beating. I was crying because of the confusion. I had no idea what was going on. The next morning, my sisters reluctantly sat next to me and told me what had happened. They said I got angry and chased them down and tried to hurt them. They said my eyes were red to the point where they thought I was bleeding from them.
Oh, God.
They said I sounded like a different person. In 2011, that was the last time I saw the top hat wearing man. I just moved into a new apartment, and after a long, stressful day of unpacking, I took a shower and got ready for bed. As I started to drift off, I could feel that cold feeling again.
Oh my God, bro, you need
I
an
lifted
exorcism.
my head
Like, what
and
the?
saw the man standing in front of me.
Yo, that looks
The
terrifying,
man's eyes
bro.
were red now. With a low voice, just like on that November night, it looked at me and said,
Never leave. Always here.
That was terrifying. That was terrifying. I ain't even gonna lie. That was terrifying. Whoa. Whoa. That was terrifying. Bro, ran to the bed. Like,
During my holiday, I spent about 3 weeks in Japan. I arrived pretty late, so I couldn't check into the hotel that I initially booked, so I booked the cheapest hotel that I could find nearby. Aesthetically, it was quite nice, but it did have easy access to the building, meaning anyone could come in and go to any room as they please. Plus, there was no security in sight. After arriving in my room, I ordered some food and watched some TV. I was still pretty jet-lagged from the flight, so I started to get ready for bed. As I was falling asleep, I felt the urge to double-check the door just to see if it was locked. I didn't think anything was going to happen, but I'd rather be safe than sorry.
yeah, of course. Gotta lock all them
About 5
doors.
minutes after I checked the door, I heard footsteps outside. Initially, I thought it was someone leaving their room, but the footsteps started to pick up speed. The sound started getting louder and louder, and I started to freak out a little. All of a sudden, the sound stopped. I looked at the light shining through the bottom of my door.
Oh my God,
It
it's
was a
another
shadow
guy
of a
about to-
person. At first, I thought it was room service, but it was too late for that. Or maybe it was some drunk idiot who was at the wrong room. As soon as I switched my light on, the shadow disappeared.
Oh, you shouldn't have did
I
that.
was confused, but I reluctantly went back to bed. That's when I suddenly heard scratching coming from my door. So I immediately turned my light on and shouted.
Who's there?
No, I wouldn't have said anything. I would
After
have
a
just
moment of
stayed
silence, I
quiet.
heard the footsteps slowly fade away. At this point, I was thinking it could be some kids messing around, so I got up, opened the door, and peeked my head outside. I glanced in both directions down the dark and slim hallways. That's when my heart stopped. A man emerged from the darkness and ran erratically towards me.
Why is it so dark in that hotel?
His face was contorted as he screamed, and I could see he was holding a knife in his right hand.
What the hell?
As he got closer, I could
Shut
see
the
him more
door!
clearly. He had disgusting long
Hey,
dirty
yo,
hair.
shut the door.
His clothes
Shut the
were
door.
ripped, and
Shut
he
the
had
door.
cuts and
Do not
bruises
open that
all
door.
over.
Shut the door.
I quickly slammed my door and pressed against it,
Lock
praying
it.
that the man
Lock
would
it.
just go away.
Lock it.
After what felt like hours, I finally gathered
I
my
would have
courage
never
and looked
even
at the
looked out
people.
there. I would have just put my head under the covers.
He was gone. I let out a sigh of relief and checked the people again. My heart started pumping faster than ever before. He was right in front of the
Oh.
door. He was wearing a maniacal smile on his face, and all of a sudden he raised his knife and yelled,
I'm gonna fucking kill you!
I jumped back and kept my eyes locked on the bottom of the door as I backed up to my bed. I grabbed my phone and started dialing
Oh
the
yeah,
police.
call 911
As I
now.
raised the
Call
phone
them
to my
now,
ear,
and don't let them
I saw that
leave.
the shadow was gone.
Hey, bro, what?
When the police arrived, I tried to explain what happened, and they checked the security cameras. They
All
almost
this let me
immediately
know not to go on
recognized the
vacation
man.
by myself.
He had been
walk
doing this
nowhere
to
by
people for a
myself,
while now,
sleep
and the
nowhere
police
by
have been trying to
myself.
track him down for months. After a long night of
Track
no
him down for
sleep,
months. Y'all
I finally
failing.
arrived at the
Badly.
right
Y'all
hotel
ain't get
that
him.
I had booked initially in Tokyo. That creepy guy was still on my mind, but I thought the chances of him being here were pretty slim, so I didn't bother locking my door that night.
What? You
At
always
12:05
lock your
a.m.,
door.
I
Like,
woke up
that's
to
the
a big
dumbest
bang
shit you
next to
just
me.
said.
I turned around to see the same guy passed
Yo!
out on the floor with a knife in hand. I was in shock. How did he find me? I
Well,
quickly ran out
guess
of
you
the
should have
room and
locked your
walked
door.
inside.
Like,
The cops came and he was finally arrested.
That's
Let's
crazy.
just say I'm always going to be locking my doors from now
You should be
on.
locking your doors anyway. Like that's not like a lesson you need to be learned from. Like you should lock your doors. Like that's common sense. Talk about because I'll be locking my doors. What is this one? A creepy deep web story.
I was 26 years old, and I was unemployed. Feeling
You're
unfulfilled by the
26 and
monotony of a job
unemployed?
life, I decided I
Okay.
would try my hand at working from home. So my days and nights comprised me of surfing the
No
internet
comment.
for any jobs I could get. I was a big procrastinator, so more often than not I'd stray away and waste time doing other things. One day, I came
You need to
across
find
talk
yourself a
about the deep
job.
web while on Reddit. I felt amused by the people talking about it as if it was something so scary,
Dark web.
and decided I'd look into it. It was stupid of me to go on it in the first
Exactly.
place,
Like, what are you
but I made it
on?
even
Don't
sillier
go
by
on the
deciding to
dark
check it
web.
out
Like,
late at
that's
night.
not.
It was about 2 a.m. and I came across a website where you could chat with someone anonymously.
What?
The person I got was a woman. She
What
was
is
in
this,
her early
monkey?
20s
Like,
and
we're
very
not.
pretty.
No.
She sat with her head in her hands, looking playful into the webcam while batting her eyes. I had no desire to turn my camera on and started our chat, thinking that while I didn't come across anything scary, I could befriend this
Not
pretty
yet.
girl. It sounded like a better deal anyway. She told me to turn the camera on, but I ignored that request and
You
tried to
crazy.
get her to talk.
Turn my camera
She
on.
finally
Shit, I
did
ain't
after
turn my
some
camera
prodding,
on.
but
You don't
I
need to see my
noticed how
face. You
guarded
don't need
she
to know what I
was.
look like.
I also noticed how after every message I sent, her eyes would look off camera, either to her side or somewhere behind her computer. After a while, it started getting annoying, so I asked her if someone else was there with her.
I want to see you first.
No,
She
you're
said,
not seeing me
Up
first.
until
Stop
now,
asking me
I've been
that.
chatting
No.
while she'd answered my questions verbally. I'm not that curious,
Don't be scared.
she said, laughing.
Don't be scared.
This
I ain't
time
scared.
looking
You just need to
behind the
see my face.
laptop again and making a face that seemed to indicate she was laughing at my expense with someone else. This is getting boring. It feels like I'm not just talking to you.
That's because you're not. You're talking to all of us.
All of us.
Who else is there?
Turn your camera on.
Turn my camera on.
Is this a
What?
joke?
No. You're not gonna say that and then tell me turn my camera on.
Okay.
No.
I'll be leaving now.
Turn on the camera.
The
No.
laughter was
I am
almost
not.
piercing by now. There was nothing humorous about the situation.
You
yet she
better
threw
not
her
turn on
head
your
back
camera.
with riotous
Ooh.
laughter. I'd had enough and moved the cursor over to turn the chat box off when I saw the cursor had jammed. The only thing that was working was the chat box.
That's what you get. You
and I
shouldn't
still
have
had
freaking went on the
access to
dark web.
keyboard.
Turn the camera on, sweetie.
Don't call me
Her
sweetie.
gumdrop
No,
fake
I'm not
voice
turning
was
on my
louder
camera.
than before when I moved my gaze up to see her smiling toothfully at the camera. Her face still beautiful, but the smile
Her face still
completely
beautiful.
fake.
Forget how she looked. Like we not. No.
Can't see the screen. Sorry. I lied. I didn't want her to know I had no option but to chat. Her screen flashed before going blank. There was nothing there but a
I'm
black
gonna
screen.
Jump up and scare me.
I
Oh my
felt
god.
relieved, thinking
Oh my
that at
goodness.
least I didn't need to talk to her while I tried to figure out what
Just
happened
like
to
the
the
Christmas
screen.
one. Oh my goodness.
Just then, a chat message popped up.
Open the damn camera.
Oh.
The aggressiveness
You
in the
prick.
message frightened
Bit.
me. Now, the fact that I couldn't see her face while she typed this made me feel nervous. I didn't dare reply back, but then the cursor moved. I watched shell-shocked as the cursor twirled around the screen.
Open the camera now.
No.
I still
I'm
didn't
not.
make a move. There was no way anything
No,
good would
I'm
be
not doing
waiting
it.
for me if I did what she asked.
No.
The screen began flickering,
Don't do it.
as if a virus was causing the computer to writhe in agony.
Do you want me to find you?
My heart raced.
What?
Could it be possible she knew where I was?
She did not know where
I
you
started
was.
typing. Please stop.
You ain't show
bothering
your
me."
face. You ain't
Then
do
turn
anything.
on the fucking camera.
No, do
By
not
this
turn on your
point, I
camera.
thought she was some kind of sadist and got her kicks by scaring unassuming people in chat rooms. So I obliged and turned the webcam on.
Why?
I saw my
Why would
frightened
you do
face
that?
staring
Oh
into the
my
screen.
god.
Judging by my face, my attempts at looking tough were painfully unsuccessful. I asked around for the girl looking straight into the camera, telling her I did what she wanted and to stop hacking into my computer. There were several seconds of silence. I kept my stare
You're
directed
done.
to the little
you're
box that
done.
showed her camera
You're done.
feed. but it was pitch black.
I would just
I motioned
unplug. I
to
would
the
just
camera in
unplug my
confusion,
computer.
feeling as if she was messing with me now. Then I saw another message.
Look here.
Look
After a
here.
few seconds of staring at those words, I looked back at her camera, but my computer instantly malfunctioned, and I received another message.
Look here. Don't look up.
Don't look up.
The chat was filled with nonsensical gibberish. She
What the
typed
hell?
with such
And you're still
ferocious
here?
speed, my
Unplug your
screen whirled
computer.
away with
I
the
would
constant
not be
messages.
sitting here
couldn't
looking at. I would have
understand
never
what was
actually
going
no.
on.
I take that back. I would have never went
Didn't
on
look
the
up.
dark web in the first place.
My patience
Like,
ran thin, and I wrote
who
back.
explores the dark web?
What is this supposed to mean? Her
And
response
if you are going to
came.
do it, why would you do it by
I
yourself?
read only the letters in bold and shuddered. I looked back into her webcam and I fell back into my chair, my eyes widening. She was back there. Only
Ooh.
her face looked completely demented. She had a savage expression, devoid of emotion. But her eyes were almost popping
You're
out
looking
of
up
their
again.
sockets,
She's looking at something.
and she was huffing as if she had extreme amounts of pent-up rage. The way she looked directly into the camera made me feel she despised me with all of her being. There was no amusement there anymore. Her camera went blank again. Then the chat popped up.
Look up.
My heart stopped again. For a split
What did they look
second,
up
there
for?
had been the same blackness, only for the lights to come back on. She wasn't alone anymore. There was a man next to her with a black mask on.
What the?
He made no movements other than look into the camera like the girl. The girl's neck
Ooh!
creaked to her side. It looked like it was causing her pain. And then the lights went out.
Nah,
again.
your neck can't bend like
The
not
chat
supposed to bend
resumed.
like that. What the?
This time, I screamed in fright and fell off my chair. There was another man with them now. He was standing next to the
Ooh,
girl
her
with the
teeth!
original one on the other side. This man
Like,
had the same mask on, but his hands were grasping the girl's shoulders.
dang, he really gripping her shit.
Even with the subpar quality of the webcam, I could see the force with which the man dug his hands into the girl.
Oh yeah, he in there.
It looked like he could rip her in two. The girl, however, had a huge grin on her face. Her eyes were mad with glee, or so it looked. Her teeth were perfectly lined up as her mouth spread into that toothy grin, but I could see she was in pain. Even with the smallest sign of her smile fading, the man clenched his hands even tighter than before, which made her smile even wider. All three of them were shaking, as if it was extremely cold where they were. After a couple seconds, I realized they were shuddering, like trying to hold back laughter.
What are you laughing at?
I yelled into the screen. They didn't answer.
I don't like
They
this.
continued to tremor
I don't
with
like this.
concealed hilarity.
What is so damn funny?
Why are you
I
still
bellowed.
here? Forget all
They
of
stopped
that.
shaking. Within a couple seconds, the screen went black again.
Like,
When it turned back on, the man no longer grasped the girl's shoulder. Neither was she smiling. All three pointed into the camera. Upon a
Odd
closer
twist.
look, I understood that they weren't pointing at me. They were pointing behind me. I didn't need to look back. I could see myself in the webcam.
hey, yo, someone behind you,
There
bro.
was someone
You did.
peeking from
You
behind
did.
me. It was another man in a mask. And according to what I saw on my webcam, he was with me in my room, right behind me. I turned around quickly, but saw nothing where I had seen him in the webcam. I turned back towards the screen and, to my bewilderment, saw a third man in the girl's chat box. It was the same man I had just seen standing in my room. Now, all three had their hands on the girl and were gripping tight. The girl wasn't laughing anymore. She had a look of utter devastation. A tear was dropping from her eye, but it wasn't just a tear. It was blood trickling down her eye socket. She then mouthed the words, "Help me," and the next second she screamed as if her lungs were being ripped off as the screen went black. I immediately got up and pulled the plug out of my computer.
Now you want to
and
put a
backed
plug
out of the
after
room.
all of that? I would
For a
have been
couple
did that.
seconds, I swear I heard her screams, even though the computer was unplugged. The room went quiet, but I was too devastated
llama.
to stay
I see the
there
llama.
and ran out of my house despite it being
what-
3 a.m. I caught a cab and went over to my friends, who had to talk me down for an hour before I could be calmed. I returned
Bro,
back to my house with my
what?
friend a day later. Everything was the same. And after thoroughly checking around the house, we concluded that there was no one there, nor was there a sign of anyone ever having
You'll
broken in.
check the cookies, like,
I've never gone back to the deep web. My friend suggested it
should
might
never
have been
went.
some prank by computer hackers, but the way that girl shrieked,
You
the
should have
terror
never
she
did
had
that
on
in the
her
first
face,
place.
it convinced me she had been a victim herself. I'd wondered if I had stayed on for longer, if I would have become a victim too.
Stayed on for
Could
longer.
those men have found me? Was there really someone in the room with me? There was nothing I could do, because there was nothing concrete to report to the police. What I did do was throw the computer
Oh
out
yeah,
and buy a new
definitely.
one. There was no way I could even open it back up after what happened.
Yeah, I would definitely. Oh, it's running. They did that to try and scare me. It's just the end of the video. I forgot they do that. College horror story. I'm in college now. Please, like,
It was an
come
early
on.
morning. My campus didn't offer housing and I lived about a half a mile from school, so I started my journey as usual while playing on my phone. I glanced up to see an old man heading towards me on a bicycle. Normally, I'd step aside to let bikers and
Would've been too
skaters
much.
pass, but he braked instead. I stopped too, wondering if there was something wrong. He walked up to me and said,
Don't worry, I'm not gonna hurt you.
What?
I felt
Don't
chills
worry, I'm not
instantly.
gonna hurt
I
you.
didn't know what to think. I just looked up at him with a fearful and confused expression. I was gathering up the courage to tell him that I was late for class and I should go, but before I could say anything, he said,
Get off the grass!
Looking down, I noticed I'd stepped over towards the road and onto the
Off the
grass.
grass.
I stepped off slowly and he said,
You wouldn't want to step on any bugs or get your shoes dirty now, would you?
Oh wow.
He raised his finger and asked me what my name was. I told him, and he replied,
Don't worry, I'm not gonna hurt you.
Don't worry, I'm not gonna hurt you.
The same chills ran through my body again. But before I could say anything, the man said,
Get off the grass! You wouldn't want to step on any bugs or get your shoes dirty now, would you?
You just got off the grass.
I looked down to see that I was back on the edge of the sidewalk again.
How the
This
hell?
had to be deja vu. He asked for my name once more. I said my name again.
Hey, yo,
but he
kid,
interrupted
you
me
seeing this?
Before I could finish. He told me
He's
his
looking at him
grandchildren
like
were down the
crazy.
road
Like,
and
why is he
needed
looking at
gas
you crazy?
money. I told him I didn't have any spare change or any change at all for that matter. He continued to ask me again, and I gave him the same answer.
Bro is on the
Eventually,
grass
I
again.
headed towards my school. I turned to see if he was still there, but he was gone. As I was walking, I approached the intersection. There was a truck on its side. It must have tipped over while turning the corner.
That's a bike. Bro is a ghost. Wow. That was just weird. Oh my goodness.
It was a cold, foggy evening when I contacted a close friend of mine to stay at my place for the night. Both of us were only 10 years old at the time, and my parents were often at work until midnight, so I was usually alone with nothing to do except watching a television show or reading a book.
Okay.
My friend Alex had agreed to come over and brought a game of Monopoly to pass some of the time. I also asked if he was interested in going to explore an abandoned subway station 3 miles away.
Explore an abandoned
He seemed
subway
excited at first, so
That's-
we
y'all some
planned to go on the
adventurous
trip in the
people.
morning.
Adventurous kids.
I
would
remembered
have
that
never
the
did this
subway
shit.
dated back to the
We gonna
mid-1920s
stay
and
in the
became
house, watch
abandoned in
movies, and play video
1932
games.
after
Like,
the market crash in
y'all are
1929.
on the next level.
I was very fascinated about its history, but never got the chance to go inside after my parents had warned me not to enter. As I
the
quietly
poster, though.
slept in my bed, I heard what sounded like a gunshot coming from the forest behind the house. Both of us woke up, frightened after what we had heard, and I told my friend not to worry, as hunters tend to go into the forest on frequent occasions, but when I checked the time, it was 11:39 p.m. This seemed very unusual, as hunters only came into the forest between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. I looked at Alex and decided to get out of my bed, intending to look through the window and spot for anyone in the forest. The darkness clouded my vision, so I was unable to see anyone in the forest. I turned around and looked at Alex again, when suddenly I heard the front door squeak open.
What?
Chills went down my spine. Both of us quietly moved to the bathroom, locked the door, and kept the light off.
Keep the light off.
It was the
Why'd you
only
turn the
safe
light
place
off?
in the house. Both of us were terrified as we desperately tried to keep as calm as we could. We heard footsteps getting louder and louder until they stopped in front of the bathroom door. And then this is when the most terrifying sound forced my heart to almost burst. Both of us screamed as the person chopped the door to pieces. It was pitch black inside the room, making it hard to find the vent, and by the time I spotted the vent, the person behind the door had made a hole big enough for us to see him. The man adorned black leather and was wearing a plague doctor mask.
Hey,
I scurried
yo.
back to the vent, but it was too high above the floor for us to
Yo
reach
was
it,
pulling some
so Alex
shining
told me
type
to go
stuff. He was
first
like,
because he was the strongest. He lifted
yo,
me up
hurry
on
up.
his shoulders, allowing
Hurry
me to
up.
open
Get up
the
the
vent
vent.
and
Let's
crawl
go.
inside.
Let's go. Hurry
When I
up.
looked at the door again, the man had managed to fit
Stop
his arm
looking
through
at
the
the
hole
door.
and reached for the
Go.
lock.
Go.
I quickly grabbed
go.
Alex's hand, but struggled to pull him up into the vent.
Alex!
I shouted, and began going after him. I pursued the figure until I was led to the abandoned subway deep within the forest. It was chilly and foggy, meaning that I could only see objects within a
great
range
friend.
of 5 or 6 yards.
You a great friend.
Inside the subway was a pool of freezing cold water.
Ooh.
It was so dark that I couldn't see anything. I had to rely on listening to the screams
How
from
did y'all
Alex
go in
and
there
track
in
the source.
First place? Like,
As I
oh my
slowly
God.
walked through the subway, I was now struggling to breathe under the intense stress and fear of the situation. I called, but there was no response. I continued walking through the water until the exit was no longer visible. I was now experiencing a massive panic attack. I had lost track of Alex, and I had no idea where I was or how to get out. Where are you, Alex?
Oh, this actually happened. Oh, shit. On October 19th, 1983, Alex was confirmed dead after he was found inside the ticket office hanging from the ceiling? Oh my God. Jesus. Oh boy. Oh God. That's why you don't just go and explore stuff. Like, why? Like, they wasn't even old enough to be staying home alone. Like, why, and then why would y'all go explore something? And then you lost your, bro, what? That's crazy. That's crazy. I don't, that's scary. That's also scary, but that's really crazy. It makes it worse this actually happened. I'm happy they didn't show us him hanging from the ceiling. His closest friend remains missing. He's missing too? Oh my God. Wow. So that actually happened. Wow, I might gotta look that up after this video. Wow. Another college horror story? Oh boy.
Back when I was in college, me and my best friend Miko heard a rumor that her dormitory was haunted. I didn't encounter
Hey yo,
anything in
didn't
the
you
2 years
kidnap
of staying
somebody?
there, so I
Like,
was
didn't you
skeptical.
kidnap somebody? Like,
I could
what
see
the?
why the rumor started.
Y'all using the
The
same
dorm was
animal.
kind of creepy, and Miko was
Same
convinced it
animation.
was true. One day, I placed a hot cup of coffee in the sink and said, "If this cup magically empties itself by the time we get back from school, I'll believe you. Deal. Want to bet on it?" "Come on, you won't bet on it because you know you'll lose." When I arrived home, I noticed Miko was asleep. It seemed quite weird as he would normally be playing games or cooking in the kitchen.
Maybe he
I
was
put my
tired.
bag on the table and noticed the cup in the sink. I knew it, I said to myself. I started to pour the coffee away when my phone vibrated. "Why are you calling me?" I thought perhaps he left his phone at school. I answered. "Hello?" "Hey, just eat without me tonight if you're hungry. I'm still at the store getting food supplies for next week. I grabbed some coffee. I noticed we're almost out. Oh, and I tried looking for that green sauce you put in your homemade burgers. No luck, though."
What the? Who the hell?
But, wait, another checkout just opened. I'll cook tonight. I shouldn't be too
Yo,
long.
get out that room.
See ya.
Get out that room now.
I was confused.
Get out the room
My
now.
eyes darted around the room as I tried to gather my thoughts. That's when I realized something.
Yo, what the?
I was too freaked out at this point.
No.
Hey, I hope you're hungry. Oh.
That's scary. I don't want to go to I don't. I'm dropping out. I'm dropping out. I'm dropping out. Nah, forget it. Just forget it. Dropping out. Dropping out.
This happened in 2009. We would fly from our home state in California to Minnesota to visit my father's family for the summer. I've always enjoyed it there because of the nature and peaceful atmosphere. My father's family lived far from the nearest town, and he only had 2 neighbors. My only friend there was a girl who lived next door.
Okay.
Let's call her Morgan.
Morgan. Okay.
She's
hey,
around my
Morgan.
age, and me, my sister, and her would always play from sunrise to sunset. One day at around 4 p.m., we were outside playing badminton. My sister hit the birdie too hard, and it landed in the next door neighbor's yard. Morgan said she had more inside her house and went to get them. I felt uncomfortable leaving it there, so I told my sister I'll go get it myself. She told me not to do it and just wait for Morgan. While my sister was fixing the net, I decided to run and get it real quick. As I was about to enter the gate, my sister grabbed me from behind and began telling me how much of a bad idea it was. That's when an old man came out from behind the house.
Oh boy,
He picked
not
up the
you
birdie
again.
and
I thought
said,
you died.
Is this yours?
Is this
I
yours?
said yes and asked if I could have it back. He said he had his grandchildren's old toys upstairs and asked if we wanted to have them. Me and my sister were very young at the time, and we thought as he lived so close and he looked like a typical sweet grandfather, what's the worst that could
Typical
happen?
sweet grandfather.
So we agreed and entered through the back door.
You went in his
First
house?
thing I noticed was the stench. It smelled of damp and rotting food. I shrugged it off at the time since he was old. Maybe he lived alone. We heard Morgan calling our names, and we politely told the old man that we had to go, and maybe we'd return tomorrow. Morgan saw us through the window and immediately asked what we were doing there. I answered, "The sweet old man," and she cut me off and said that the house was abandoned since she moved there. I thought she was just playing around with me and told her to cut it out. She had a blank expression, and that's when I knew that she was serious. We never told anyone because we didn't want to cause any trouble. But now that I'm older, I wonder if it was some ghost or creepy old man luring kids into that
Nah, that
house.
was a ghost.
The house got demolished recently, which is why I wanted to share this story.
What? Bro was a ghost in both stories. Like, what? Wow. The bridge.
So this story takes place when I was about 16 years old.
Okay.
At my school, I played for the volleyball team, and every year we would go to a camp and do volunteer work for this guy.
Bro had gotten kidnapped. I'm sorry, I
camp
keep
was in the
looking
middle
at
of
these
nowhere.
familiar faces.
When we got to the camp, we immediately started to work until 8 p.m. This was around October, so it was already dark at 8.
Right.
My 2 friends and I were sitting around the fire, trying to figure out something we could do so we weren't so bored. We heard that there was a small river down the hill from the camp, and we thought we could check it out. The problem is that it was some guy's property, and the owner of the camp told us to not disturb him since the guy was a little strange. We weren't really supposed to leave the camp, but being 16 years old, we loved breaking the rules.
Right, of course.
We walked about 10 minutes from the camp and finally reached the river. It was bigger than we expected, and there was a large wooden bridge that crossed it. The bridge was about 20 feet long and was big enough to let a truck go over it.
Right.
My 2 friends and I decided to go under the bridge and check it out. As we were walking by the shoreline, we saw 2 headlights off in the distance moving towards the bridge, so we bolted underneath it.
I would
hid.
say turn
We then
around.
heard the truck roll over our heads and to the other side. My friends and I chilled there for a while, just talking and throwing rocks in the water. It
Right.
was about 8:30 at this time, and now it was pretty much pitch black.
Right.
That's
So
when we started to hear a slow rumble in the distance.
slow
The same
rumble.
truck had come back, and this time it was moving much slower. We stayed put under the bridge, stifling our laughter. Eventually, the truck moved over the bridge, but rather than going over to
Just
the other
stop.
side, the truck stopped right on top of
Oh,
us.
yep, I knew it.
The only thing you could hear was the rushing water and the hum of the engine. Then, the door of the truck swung open, and out came a loud thump on top of the bridge.
Oh
Then
boy,
we
here
heard
we
a
go.
loud scream saying,
I know you're out there. I'm gonna find you.
I looked at my friends and they were both shaking in fear. This must have been the crazy property owner, and he seemed pissed that we were on his land.
It's
He
three
started
of y'all. He
screaming
can't take
and
all of
saying
y'all.
he was going to hurt us if he finds us. We could see that he had a flashlight and he was swinging it around looking for us. We heard loud thumps as he walked around a little bit, calling out for us, and thank God he never went under the bridge.
The one place he didn't
Eventually,
look.
it went silent, and it sounded as if he went back into his truck. I was too terrified to move. We sat there for about 10 minutes, and then my one friend, who we'll call Trevor, whispered in my ear, saying that we have to go. I gave him a quick nod, and in slow motion, we moved out from under the bridge. We started to army crawl on the shoreline of the river, and I remember looking behind me to see the top of the bridge. I saw a white Ford F-150. In the driver's seat was the man, staring right at me with a sinister smile, and he
Oh
even gave me a
God.
little wave. At that moment, I screamed and
Go,
ran.
run. We gotta
My friends
go.
saw
We
me
gotta
run
go.
and took off after
We
me.
booking it. We
I could
booking
hear
it.
screaming from behind us. I took a quick glance behind me and saw that he was chasing after us, and I couldn't quite make out the
Yo
object in
is
his hand,
dash.
but it
Yo,
seemed to be a
keep
weapon
it.
of some sort.
I'm
We ran
gone.
into the
I'm
forest and ducked
gone.
behind a bush.
I'm
It
using
was pitch
bolts in
black in the
this.
forest, and we couldn't hear a thing. We sat there for a while, just shaking. The man never walked by us, and we never heard him. After we gathered our courage, we got up and walked back to camp.
Yeah, go
got
back
into
to the
our
camp.
tents and tried to fall asleep. The next morning, we talked to the camp owner about the man that owned the property of the river. The camp owner said that he didn't know much about the man, but he knows that he has some mental problems and he'd been accused of assault.
Wow.
I'm so happy that we were able to escape from underneath the bridge. I can't imagine what would have happened if he caught us.
Y'all asses would have been dead. Abduction horror story. Oh Lord.
My name is Josh Roberts,
Had
and
another
it's
one.
been a year since I was abducted. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was walking home from school. It was about 6 p.m. and there was a full moon and a chill in the air.
Okay.
I stepped off the bus, and for the first time, someone else got off with me. I'd never seen this new kid at school before. I could hear
Why
footsteps
are you
behind
out
me.
this
I
late?
took a quick glance and saw the kid walking at a brisk pace. I thought he was following me, so I took a left, which wasn't my usual route. I looked around again and saw him take the same left. My heart started pumping and my legs started shaking at the sound of the footsteps as they got louder and faster. I then panicked and started running. I remembered a shortcut in the nearby forest to my neighborhood, so I ran as fast as my legs could carry me.
Right.
Hey kid, wait up.
Said a heavy voice from behind me. I tried my hardest not to stumble on the
Don't look
logs
back.
and boulders
Keep
in
going.
my path. I could hear the sound of sticks and leaves being broken by some fast, heavy footsteps. My legs started throbbing as the adrenaline
Man,
wore
I'm
off,
telling
so I
you,
took a
I
detour
am
towards a playground.
on. Like,
I stopped to catch my breath, looking around for somewhere to hide. Then it went silent. I was doubtful that I lost him. I took my phone out to call the police when I spotted a local news article. Caution, there is a suspicious man on the loose. He escaped the local prison and assaulted an officer. Beware, he may look like a
bro,
teen,
don't do
but
this
he
in
is
the
in his
open.
20s. If you see
Like,
him, call 911 immediately and lock your door. My mind started rushing with thoughts, and I started to panic. All of a sudden, someone started choking me with their arm. I tried to fight back, but they were so strong, I didn't stand a chance. My feelings of hope began to diminish as I slowly blacked out.
oh God.
I awoke to find myself in a dark, damp room that looked like a basement.
The floor was hard and cold. There were no windows, but there was a staircase and a bathroom. I tried to move, but I was tied up with a thick rope.
Yeah, I got him. How much was the deal? 200?
Listen, you gotta do a little better than that. Okay, fine. You'd better bring the right amount.
Or you'll be tied up like that kid.
What? Are they selling me? The guy sounded mad.
Sell you?
With whomever he was
Wow,
talking
that's
to.
crazy.
Right after he hung up,
That's
he
different.
opened the door and walked down the stairs with an evil smile.
'Cause
Let go of me!
Be the
I
night I will
screamed as he
fall for
taunted me.
you.
My arms started to fall
Over
asleep due to the
again,
tightness
don't
of the
make me
rope.
change my
He came closer to me,
mind.
and I spat in his face. He
Mm.
looked at me in sheer rage.
Ooh.
Then the doorbell rang, followed by pounding on the door. The guy grabbed some tape and shut me up before I could scream for help. He slowly backed off, signaling me to keep quiet, and ran towards the front door. I looked around, trying to see what I could use
Look for
to
some
untie
weapons.
these
Hey,
ropes.
what's that right there?
I spotted a rusty, sharp edge sticking out of the wall. This was my one hope. I successfully got up and tried with all my might to reach it. As I was trying to cut the rope from my hands, I could hear the commotion upstairs getting heated. I managed to free myself from the ropes when I heard the front door slam. The silence was terrifying. I was
Yeah,
frozen
escape,
in
bro.
fear. Footsteps started coming towards the door. I choked and shuffled back to my original position, arms behind my back, wrists tightly locked together. Now where were we? Said the man. He walked towards me, grabbed my ankles, and started dragging me when the phone rang. He dropped me instantly and charged upstairs. I wasn't going to lose this opportunity.
Wow.
I
Yep.
untied
Come
my
on.
feet,
Yep,
grabbed
bro.
the
Let's
closest
go.
thing
Let's go.
to
Yup.
me
There we
and
go.
behind
There
some
we go.
boxes. Now where did you go? He said as he stampeded down the stairs. I heard him getting closer to where I was hiding. I bolted up from behind the boxes and saw him checking the bathroom. As he walked out, I struck him over the head with a pole. He stumbled and fell to the floor.
Hit him again.
Crimson red pooled around his head. I ran upstairs and out the front door.
Yup.
I
Go.
stumbled my way to the closest house, screaming. A woman thankfully opened the door. She was shocked and fearful when she saw me. The police were called and I was rushed into the hospital. They're still looking for that man. Even to this
What?
day.
Bro, is the doctor? Yo. I can't be watching these no more. I can't be watching these no more.
Thank you for sticking around to the end of
That was the last one. Oh boy, that was scary. Those were pretty bad. I didn't think they was gonna be that bad. I don't remember them being that bad, but they were pretty bad. Especially that one with the dude that was pretty much that tall dude with the cap that was basically like the Grim Reaper. Like what the and he possessing the boy like that was scary. And then the one about Alex, that one really got me because that one is. I think all of those are real. I think most of these stories are real. But that one, when they said he couldn't, that was terrifying. That was terrifying. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I might try and do another one. I might do another one in the future, or maybe I'll do another one sometime this week. I don't know. We'll see how this goes. But once again, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.